Thank you all for being here today and for braving the weather. Thank you to Adriana, Rebecca, and Annie-Claude, who are organizing events today in Toronto and Quebec City. Thank you to the people watching at home for sharing your stories, and thank you, Kaylee Jameson, for live streaming for us today. My name is Nicole Rogers, and I have been sick with long COVID for 5 years now. Emotional already. 1,814 days to be exact, with no end in sight. I had no idea when I woke up on the morning of March 27th, 2020, that I just experienced my last day of being healthy. I was an extremely active teacher and mom of 2 young children, and I loved to exercise. I worked out intensely 6 days a week. On the weekends, you could find me hiking 10 kilometers around Golden Ears Park, paddleboarding across Bunsen Lake, and doing pull-ups and deadlifts at the gym during the week. I never sat still. I was doing everything right in terms of living a healthy lifestyle. But after my COVID infection, I lost the ability to do everything that I loved. I lost my career as a passionate teacher, the ability to play games and make dinner for my family, to listen to music, to do activities with friends, and the ability to exercise. I tried to exercise my way out of this. I had done a Spartan race or 2, and I was a former black belt. I knew how to push through things. I couldn't push through this. In fact, exercise and any cognitive exertion made me sicker. I deteriorated while trying to keep my career and keep doing the things that I loved. I went down to working 3 days a week and then 2 days a week until my body could not function upright anymore. I traded the use of my hiking gear for a shower stool, heart rate monitor, hearing aid, wheelchair, and disabled parking pass. I have 30 symptoms that I live with. I'm not going to list them all, but if you had just one of these symptoms, you would seek the attention of a doctor. My body is not producing enough energy to get through the day. I need to lie down between 17 and 22 hours each and every day. On a good day, I can shuffle 200 meters to my mailbox. If I walk beyond that, my body shuts down for 3 days and I'm unable to feed myself. It feels like I'm slowly being poisoned. My husband has had to take on everything at home. My story is not unique. There are approximately 400 million people around the world suffering from long COVID. 3.5 million of them here in Canada. Half of us have gone on to develop ME/CFS and joined that patient population. They have welcomed us with open arms and have taught us so much, but they are another community that is ignored by the media and the medical system. Behind me are over 200 pillowcases. Each one tells a story of a Canadian suffering from long COVID. They are heartbreaking stories of people missing from their former lives. I asked 3 of them if I could share a bit of their stories with you. There's Crystal, who is 41 years old from Calgary, Alberta. She says, my role changed from being a helper to needing lots of help. My spouse has become my caregiver. I am a shadow of the person I used to be. I can do so much less, and most of my time is spent needing to lie down. There's Josh, who is 43 years old from Stratford, Ontario. He says, I was in great shape and loved my life. Now I spend 23 hours a day in bed. Human interaction is very exhausting and can cause me to crash, so I spend the vast majority of that 23 hours alone. And finally, there's Sonia from Quebec, who is so ill she has been forced to retire from Canadian public service due to long COVID at 37 years of age. Here in Canada, we are used to politely waiting and trusting, relying on our doctors and medical system for help and answers. Here we are 5 years into this ongoing pandemic. Our doctors don't know how to help us. Many of them don't believe us. The polite waiting has not gotten us anywhere. Canada is far behind when it comes to the diagnosis, treatment, and support of people with long COVID. I want to remind you that during the days of the AIDS crisis, there was stigma, denial, and gaslighting, much like what we are experiencing today. Treatments were not simply handed to patients after polite waiting for a certain period of time. AIDS patients had to stand up and speak out, advocate for themselves. Now there are more than 30 different drugs and treatments available for HIV. I urge you all to help us speak out about long COVID. We have a letter for you to send to your MLAs and MPs, the blue letter. We are asking the Canadian government for funding and support for all Canadians with long COVID, with a focus on research,